In celebration of the newest Gorillaz album that came out about a week or two ago, depending on the release of this video, me and longtime forever fan of Gorillaz, Diego Messina here, who definitely didn't just hear about them like 2 years ago,
Oh shit.
are going to make a tier list on the studio albums that have came out throughout the years for the Gorillaz. Um, I am a huge Gorillaz fan.
Oh, me too.
I'm not gonna say I've been a fan since the very beginning, because when the
I
first
have.
album came out, I was only fucking 2 years old. From Plastic Beach and onward, that was my shit. So yeah, my history with Gorillaz goes a while back. What about you, Messina? How did you figure out about the Gorillaz? Because I know for a while you kind of not neglected, but definitely didn't listen to their stuff.
Um, well, I had known who they were. That's for sure. I knew that they existed. Well, at least from middle school, I remember we had like a show and tell, and that's where you showed
Yeah, I showed the Gorillaz. What did I show? Clint. I made a whole
Clint Eastwood.
presentation
Yeah,
because I think it was like, stuff that people might not know about.
and
And
you just like
I showed the Clint Eastwood.
and
I remember the part where Murdoch gets his nutsack grabbed. The teacher wasn't looking, which was fucking awesome.
yeah.
But then when it finished, I remember everybody was like, "Oh, what is this emo bullshit you're fucking showing us? Fuck you, you piece of shit. This isn't Lil Wayne. This isn't fucking Drake, Nicki Minaj. Fuck you." And then they pushed me and bullied me, and then you stabbed me in the fucking knee.
Yeah, dude.
And then I started bleeding. I still have the lead on my right knee. It's still in there. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, that's my that was my Gorillaz presentation. Don't ever make a Gorillaz presentation, guys.
Never again.
You'll get fucking bullied to death.
What? Yeah. So that's where I at first heard about them, but I didn't really listen to like any of their music until like Song Machine
Right.
came out. Now, I mean, I've heard like the individual
Right. I'm
songs,
sure you've heard like Clint Eastwood, like their big hits, like Clint Eastwood and
and really that's it. I think that's the only one I would like play. Like
Feel Good Inc. Feel Good
Feel
Inc.
Good Inc. Those two would be like the ones
Right.
that I play like back to back, like every now and then.
Right.
But it wasn't until Song Machine came out that I listened to that entire album and I was like, oh, okay, I like this one. And that was Song Machine. Really was my
Your
main
introduction to Gorillaz.
my main introduction, and then like I went back and listened to like a couple other ones.
I think it's crazy how like in each album, there's just new people who get introduced to Gorillaz. Because like at least the thing about Gorillaz, obviously they're genre bending. But like for each album, like a new type of crowd of people gets introduced to them. Definitely for Song Machine, like you were introduced to that. Um, like for when Plastic Beach came out, a whole new crowd was introduced to that. And then like right now with Cracker Island, like a whole bunch of white people were introduced to that, you know?
Yeah, like oh shit, a song about me.
But yeah, without further ado, do you want to get started?
Sure,
All right.
let's do it.
Let's start from the beginning. Gorillaz, their self-titled album that came out in 2001. What do you think of that album?
Okay, so here's my thing, and this is gonna apply for like every album, right?
Right.
Because I only my main, like I said before, my main introduction was Song Machine, and I went back and listen. At first, I listened to like bits and pieces of like a few songs from each until like recently, this past 2 weeks, I listened through the entire through all albums like completely.
Right.
So like I don't I'm not gonna I won't be relying on like nostalgic,
Right.
not the nostalgic factor, right? So I'm going to be basing my opinions on like on what I've heard and
Right.
like me
You definitely have a
fresh take. I think like
a different take on all this, because obviously you're not like you're not
I'm not
blinded
gonna,
by nostalgia. Like,
right,
oh,
like,
this
I
album's
grew up
fucking
with
great.
this, yeah. Like
Right.
I didn't grow up with any of these songs. And I guess I'm going. Song Machine is like I rate that one highly. Just so I guess I'm going to try it, and like my criteria was like, okay, do I like this as much as I did Song Machine, right? So the self-titled, their first one. Well, it had Clint Eastwood, and it had Feel Good Inc.
The Feel Good Inc. wasn't in this one.
Oh, it wasn't?
That's on the next album.
Oh shit. Oh well, then see, there you go. I feel like the self-titled was Okay. At least
Uh,
compared to the later
there
entries.
I remember. Well, I don't remember, but from what I've heard, when the album first came out, because Clint Eastwood, Tomorrow Comes Today, 2000, and which other one? I think that might have been it. I might be wrong. Those are the songs that had music videos in them, and like people fucking love those fucking songs. Oh, Rock the House also had a music video. People love those songs, and people like thought the album was gonna be exactly what that was, but it really wasn't. We just got a very, in my opinion, atmospheric album that definitely is not in the same tone as like Clint Eastwood and Rock the House. Those are more funky, more rap based. Um, and people just wanted more of like a. It was an alternative album, an alternative rock album, but definitely mixed with a little bit of electronic, a little bit of rap, hip hop, and I just feel like people weren't prepared for that in 2001,
Right.
and they kind of threw them off a little bit. And like compared to like the rest of the album, it was nothing like the singles, and people were just like, "Oh, this is kind of weird." Like, "Oh, maybe this might just be like a little gimmick, sort of thing." Um, I personally really like the album. Like I said, Rehash is a great song. I'm going down the list of songs. 5-4 is a good song. Tomorrow Comes Today. I fucking love that song. Um, Clint Eastwood is good. Punk is good. I think Punk is a very underrated song. Um, Soundcheck, which is the song I was singing earlier, is fucking. I love that song too. Rock the House, obviously 2000 is iconic. Um, and there's definitely a lot of like I said, more ambient songs in this album. But
Yeah.
maybe like you said, maybe because I grew up with it, it's definitely not my favorite. It's not my favorite album, but I think it's definitely the band was like trying to play around with certain things and trying to
They're still
discover
finding their sound.
right, trying to discover what it is that they were trying to do. But it's not that it's not Gorillaz, because this is a very Gorillaz album. It's just very early Gorillaz, but it still sounds like a Gorillaz album. So if it were up to me, it's definitely a B tier for me.
I'd say B or C.
B or C?
Either one. I think I'd be happy with either or.
I'd say let's do B tier.
B tier.
Just
That's
because
fine.
it's definitely a decent album. I still go back here and there listening to it. I know there's a couple of songs that are like, but like at least 75% of the album for me is pretty decent. Plus it has Clint Eastwood. Fucking everybody loves that fucking song. Can't believe they fucking. When you search it up on YouTube, people really think the song is called "In Sunshine in a Bag." Fucking stupid. Anyways, their next album, which is a highly critically acclaimed album that came out in 2005, Demon Days. This is an album that people fucking love, and I love this album too.
Probably one of the most parodied album covers
Right,
too.
definitely. It's iconic, and even then, it's a parody. It's not a parody, but an homage of the Beatles. What was it? Let It Be.
No idea.
It might have been that album cover, but yeah, dude, the album. This is probably the most iconic album cover. People always parody the shit out of this.
I think like you can show this. Like I feel like if you show someone who doesn't know who the Gorillaz are, they would have. They would still recognize.
They would recognize the album cover at least. And yeah, this album has
so many good songs.
It has a lot of good songs. The thing about this album is the fact that they really stepped up their game on what it is that they were trying to do with the Gorillaz, and
Yes.
they figured it out. They definitely redefined everything.
What you were saying about their self-titled, their first one, and trying to find their sound. This one, they solidified what type of music and the Gorilla sound that will come down like in future albums as well.
Right. And this one definitely like the theming, it's a lot more cohesive, a lot more cinematic. You can tell that all these songs just mix together well. Obviously you had like the big hit was Feel Good Inc. Fucking everybody, according to people at the time, this song was pretty big. And I feel like that's the song you really think about when you think of Gorillaz, like Feel Good Inc. Like that's the song. That's what I think. Cause I feel like every album ish kind of has like a Clint Eastwood or Feel Good Inc. Um, yeah, Feel Good Inc. Better than Clint Eastwood, I would say yes. But they have other great songs too. Like
I like Dare.
there is so good. There is like a dance electronic type of mix song. That one's great. Um,
Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry's great too. One of my favorites is the only collaboration that they did with MF Doom was November Comes Today.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good ass fucking song. I love that song. And there's a lot of music here that like it's more story driven, like Fire Coming Out of a Monkey's Head, or even like Don't Get Lost in Heaven. Like there aren't that many words to it, but it's very very story driven about it.
Right.
Also Every Planet We Reach Is Dead is, and Oh Green World. It's just something about like the the atmosphere about the song. It's what would you say like the overall theming for this is? I definitely get like a kind of like a post apocalyptic
Yeah, I mean,
kind of vibe to
well,
it.
you get those vibes. I feel especially from the three that we mentioned: Dirty Harry, Feel Good Inc., and Dare.
Right.
Well, Feel Good Inc. because like they're flying at the lighthouse and all
Right.
this, and then like Dirty Harry, kind of like them in like the desert in a tank.
It's really
Kind of seems like
it's a lot. I get a lot of like lonely vibes about this album. Like it's very loneliness. There's a lot of songs that like just about just you being like alone or like the last person like in the fucking world.
yeah,
Cause like the Last Living Souls, Oh Green World, Every Planet We Reach Is Dead, All Alone, Don't Get Lost in Heaven. So like a lot of theming with like death, loneliness, surviving, and just definitely darker, but not dark to the point where it's the music isn't like depressed. Where the music is depressing, because I don't think this album is depressing. Um, I just think it tells a very good story.
it does. I think. I mean, heck, the music videos. I know we're not talking about the music videos, but I feel like, Demon Days onward, the music videos really become like
Right. Well, the music videos for this one, what do we have? We had Dare, iconic. Feel Good Inc. was also iconic.
Dirty Harry.
El Mañana, Dirty Harry. The music videos for this definitely go hard. I will say one thing though. My favorite, and just going back to their self-titled album, my favorite art style for the Gorillaz was definitely their first era with the thick outlines.
Mm-hmm.
I love that art style.
So from the first
The
album.
first album definitely had my favorite art style.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been topped. I don't think it'll ever be topped because they do a different art style every single time. But I think Feel Good Inc. No, sorry, the album Demon Days was the transition between like the thick outlines and whatever they were doing next.
Onward.
Because it's still kind of angular, but at the same time it's a little bit more, I guess, less cartoony-ish, even though it still looks cartoony.
Right.
But it's definitely a little bit less angular, a little bit more redefined, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, I'd give Demon Days an S tier.
Oh yeah, I would too.
It's a fucking phenomenal album. And if you have not listened to it, what the fuck are you doing? Because it's a good ass album. And here's the thing: don't expect listening to this album like getting like hit after hit after hit after hit. Because I feel like this kind of modern Gorillaz, not to say they ruin it, but modern Gorillaz is definitely like single and hit and single and hit, as opposed to like a more like cohesive story driven album. And I feel like that might turn off a lot of people, where they might be like, oh well, where's the Bad Bunny single?
Right.
So but if you haven't listened to this new Gorillaz fans, Demon Days is definitely gonna be up there. Now moving on to my personal favorite album of Gorillaz and one of my personal favorite albums of all time, and the Gorillaz album that definitely took me back to listening to their old stuff. Plastic Beach, without a doubt, S tier.
Oh, dude, S tier. I mean, fuck. Plastic Beach, Future Beach. This album was like jam packed with like
Yeah, this one had
other
had a
artists.
lot of artists. Just to name a few, they brought
Snoop,
Snoop Dogg. They brought back
Bad Bunny,
shut the fuck up. What's his name?
Lil Wayne.
Most Def was in this one. Uh, Little Dragon, Lou Reed, Mick Jones. I love this album, dude. And my favorite Gorillaz song of all time is Empire Ants. Fucking love that song. It's my favorite Gorillaz song, one of my favorite songs of all time. Everything about this album, the message about the environment, the themes about the album, the tone of the album, how everything is just more cinematic. It just starts with an orchestral theme to it, and it's just I love this shit, dude. It's definitely, you listen to this from the beginning to the end, you get a whole movie,
Yeah.
and that's what I fucking loved about this. Also, unfortunately this would be the end of like music video gorillas that are like that would tell a cohesive story. Cause the thing that sucked about this album, it wasn't as commercially
Successful.
successful, so they had to cut a lot of stuff. Like the last music video for Rhinestone Eyes,
Hmm.
they never made it. There's only storyboards for that. The storyboard animatic for that.
Well, I think there are fan animations that
I think
completely.
somebody did finish the music video, but obviously it's not official Gorillaz. But it's unfortunate that their best album was also their least successful album. When this album is just, man, hands down, one of the best albums I've ever listened to.
At least it's getting the praise that
Right.
it deserves.
Now people really went back, and because when this came out, people were kind of like, pretty iffy about it, because
Like, where's Phyllis Gooding?
because this is when Gorillaz went more electronic.
Oh, I mean, you can tell that with Rhinestone Eyes.
Right. So like songs like my favorite songs, Rhinestone Eyes, Stylo, fucking that song has so much character to it, dude.
Right.
I love that song.
I'm kind of the basic. One of my favorites is on Melancholy Hill.
Melancholy Hill. That's probably the most successful song from that album. Like I said, Empire Ants was my favorite. Broken is a good ass fucking song.
You know, I kind of like the second song, "Welcome to the World of the Plastic Beach" with
With
Snoop,
Snoop Dogg.
because I think going back to what you said, you know, it starts with the very first song is
with
the orchestra intro,
orchestra
and so I feel
intro.
like you kind of like you think like, oh, what the hell, like they're going like
Right.
very like weird shift into like orchestra, and then like the second
And then
song starts and it's like
I think it flawlessly transitions to Snoop Dogg's introduction to the Plastic Beach.
yeah.
The story that is gonna be told throughout this album. I love this album. This is my favorite album. I put this above Demon Days. Not saying that Demon Days is any less than this, but it's my favorite, dude. I don't know. Which one do you like more between Demon Days and Plastic Beach?
It's hard because me having like listened to these albums just like recently, I don't know like all the songs like by heart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I don't like know I don't know them by heart essentially. So I
Right.
feel like it's kind of hard for me to decide which one I would put on top. But I like Rhinestone Eyes and On Melancholy Hill a bit more than their Feel Good or Dirty Harry. So I think I would put Plastic Beach
Above.
above Demon
Demon
Days.
Days?
Although like I feel like it's very like
They're both S tier.
they're both
So at the end of the day, they really both S tier, man. All right. The next album, I don't think you've heard it, but it's definitely the first album that a lot of people were kind of like, why was this released?
like oh man. I think what do you think is this what changed everyone's opinion on Plastic? Like oh shit no, we
well,
actually like Plastic Beach was actually pretty good.
The thing about this album is that it was like a bonus album given out to the fans that were part of the Gorillaz Club. It's called The Fall. The next album is The Fall. It came out in 2010. I believe the same year that Plastic Beach came out. So essentially, Damon, throughout the tour of the Plastic Beach, he was making songs on his iPad, and he just made an album with those songs and just released it to his club members, and then he publicly released it later on. So you definitely get a lot of songs that are like, it's mainly a lot of like testing, seeing what the iPad can do, figuring out what beats it has and stuff like that. It's really just Damon playing around with his iPad. And I don't think it's one of those albums where you should really compare it to the other Gorillaz album, because it wasn't made in the same quality that the other albums were made.
Right. He was just playing around.
He was just like seeing what type of stuff he can do with the iPad. And I feel, in my personal opinion, what he was able to do with the iPad, some of that shit rocks, dude. Like I really do enjoy a lot of the songs from this. They're very minimalistic. That's the thing about this album. It's very minimalistic because it was made in the iPad. But my favorite song from this, Revolving Doors, I always sing that song. I love that fucking song. Hillbilly Man is also good. Detroit is good. Amarillo is good. Definitely there's a lot of filler and a lot of, like I told you, like him playing around, like some songs that are just kind of like, But like I said, I don't think it should be compared to the standards of the other albums. I'm not gonna say this is a great album, but I definitely don't think this is a bad album like a lot of people tend to think. They just compare it way, 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 way too much to the other albums, and it really shouldn't be. This should be in its own category. But definitely, in my opinion, like I know I just fucking praised it and all that shit, but it's about a C or B tier for me.
Yeah, see, I don't think it should be above their self-titled.
Right. I don't know if have you listened to this album, The Fall?
Not all of it, but I did like.
I don't know, you probably listened to a couple of the singles that were in there. But yeah, definitely The Fall. I still think it's a decent album, but like I said, you can't compare it to the other ones.
You can.
Now, the Gorillaz were in a 7-year hiatus after the split between Jamie Hewlett and Damon Albarn. And in 2017, they were teasing throughout a whole year. Humans finally came out, and critics and fans were split about this fucking album. Right. This is the first album and their comeback album, and people were like completely split on this. This is probably Gorillaz' most controversial album to ever come out. What do you think of Humans? Because I know you have a little bit more of a connection with these newer albums.
You know what? So you're right. Me not having listened to the self-titled Demon Days or Plastic Beach, like when I was younger, and before Humans came out in 2017, because that's pretty recent. That's right. When we were in high school. That was the year we graduated.
That was the year we graduated, and I remember I was so fucking hyped for this shit. And I remember I got Gorillaz. That was the first time I got Gorillaz tickets.
Mm-hmm. So like I have no point of reference, right?
Right.
I listening to it, I liked it. I actually thought it was pretty good. Now here's the thing, like I said, like I mentioned before, I don't know any of these songs like by memory yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I did like what I heard.
Right.
Now I think rating it would be kind of hard. I think I would probably put A. That's just my opinion.
Right.
A or B. But if it's B, higher than
they're self-titled.
Yeah. Which I think maybe kind of.
I don't know if I agree with you. Humans.
Guess, I think here's the caveat. Like I said, I don't remember which song like I liked specifically, but I liked it overall. I guess is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's like, oh my god, it's like the best album ever made, or it's like my favorite album. But like, I don't dislike it.
Right.
I wouldn't like say like, oh hey, you have to listen to Humans to someone.
Mm.
But like I wouldn't.
But you definitely enjoyed the album.
But I guess I enjoyed it. Like I wouldn't tell someone not to listen to it.
Right.
I guess is what I'm saying.
Um.
That's where I stand.
The thing I feel like the thing about this album, Jamie and Damon, I feel like they just said, "Go big or go home," and they went crazy with this album. Not in a good way though. They went crazy as in they got so many features. This album, the deluxe, has 26 songs, and the album clocks in at 1 hour and 9 minutes. Definitely, Humans has way too many songs to be in this album. Half of those songs are bangers. The other half, I feel like they're, in my opinion, they're misses and they're a little too bland. I feel like a lot of this album is a little too bland and basic. Um, like I said, I feel like Damon just tried a little bit too hard to make this. This is definitely like the party album. This is the album that like, this is their comeback. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go big with this shit. This is like a Gorillaz, a world at war type of party that they're having.
Like I mean, like 'cause like you said, 7 year hiatus. They're probably thinking like, okay, hey, we've been gone 7 years.
Right. Let's go
make
fucking crazy. But I feel like that backfired a little bit. I'm not saying this album is bad. This album, I love a lot of these songs. Ascension is a good album.
Strobe Light.
Strobe Light is decent. I really like Moments. Moments is a really good one. Submission, I love that song.
How about Saturn?
I fucking hate Charger, dude. Charger. Fucking hate that song. Oh my god. Andromeda's, I love Andromeda.
Saturn Bars.
I'm not a big Saturn's Bars guy, man. I feel like they really tried to recreate that Clint Eastwood Feel Good Inc. type of song. And you're gonna see like a lot of these albums really try to recreate that Feel Good Inc. Clint Eastwood single. I didn't like Saturn's Bars. Busted in Blue is fine. I feel like Damon's trying a little bit too hard to be like sad and emotional, in my opinion. Let Me Out is decent. Sex Murder Party I fucking hate.
We Got the Power.
I really like that one. A lot of people don't fucking like that one. We got the power to be loving each other. I know it's cringy, but I don't know. I really do like that song.
I have heard this song. That one, like I had heard like in like the radio at some point, because when like this song played, I'm like, holy shit, I didn't know it was a Gorillaz song when I first heard it. Mm-hmm. So when it played here, I was just like, oh, holy shit, that's from this album.
And that's the thing. A lot of these songs don't sound a lot like a Gorillaz song. I feel like Damon just told him, all right, I'll be the producer and then you do whatever you want. It wasn't much of a mix of a collaboration like it should have really been. Because there's a lot of songs that I don't like in this album. And half of this shit is just... Take half of this shit away. If you would have made a shorter album, maybe it could have definitely been a lot better. And it's also their most political album, too. This was at the start of the Trump era, and then Damon was very open about his statements with about Donald Trump and stuff like that, which is fine. I just feel like the longevity for this album isn't going to be as long lasting as maybe like a Demon Days, because they do reference Trump a lot, and you can tell that this is the era where, people were like very divisive. Songs like Let Me Out, Ascension, and just other because when Trump got elected, people were like, oh, this is it, this is the end of the world. Right. America's gonna go to shit. Essentially, this is the album that people thought the world was gonna be like. It's tough to say. I don't think it's better than their self-titled. I do still like this album. It's not my favorite. I know definitely when it came out, I really did like it, but I just prefer their other stuff a lot more than this one. For me, it's
below on B.
It's a high C at the end of B.
Yeah, I'm happy with
the
B,
end of B.
With bottom B.
Bottom B.
Yeah, because I don't think it's a C album.
Definitely, it has a lot of mid-ass songs though. That's the only thing I'm like. So hearing that criticism of like, all right, bro, you fucking made like a gajillion song album. What the fuck are you gonna do for your next one?
Right.
Damon definitely, simplified things a little bit more. and he made the Now Now, which is a more funky, driven album. Definitely a lot more simple, like I said earlier. Uh, but in my opinion, they're most forgettable, man.
Really?
I
I guess I can see that. Although my favorite song is Humility.
and my favorite song is Trans.
Trance is good. I like
I
that one.
love Trans. Um, in terms of like what the band was doing, um, uh, for like the continuity and stuff like that, like them bringing Ace, I thought that was fucking awesome from the
Oh
Gorillaz.
yeah, that's
This
so cool.
this is probably like the coolest crossover they've ever done with anything.
Man, I remember that announcement.
Right.
I
I
remember that
remember like
announcement.
the cartoon community was going crazy. I wish they would have done more with it, man.
Yeah.
They didn't really do too much, and they kind of like took him off screen, and they didn't really elaborate too much about that. I really wish they would have done a lot more because like it's crazy to think like
It's a unique
that
situation.
essentially the Gorillas and the Powerpuff Girls are in the same universe,
Right.
and like
Because now like it that opens up so many questions because it's like, okay, is this like album like its own thing as in like world building wise? Is this like this album is it like in its own pocket universe where it is in the same like
right.
world as the Powerpuff Girls? Because or is it like or are they all like together? Because then like
It's all together.
because then how does that explain stuff like in Demon Days with like the apocalyptic stuff and
Right.
stuff like this?
Well,
But
each song has their own, or each album has their own, like continuity. But it, like from the first three albums, definitely it followed a whole cohesive storyline. From Humans onward, they're kind of just doing whatever, really. But it's still it's all the same though. It's all one timeline.
was it Humans or was it this one? I think I remember reading about like some controversy about like some some timeline type stuff where I think it was like
It might have been
it was
this.
like a continuity type error.
It might have been this one just because of Ace, where people were probably just a little confused about it. But yeah. Um, Going back to the album though.
I think you were right about it being kind of forgetful because really I think the only two that I remember really is humility and trans.
Humility and Trance. Magic City is good too, and Sokai is probably my favorite from this album. I know I just said Trance was my favorite. Trance and Sokai are my favorite. But besides that, man, I would definitely prefer a Humans over this one. Although I do have nostalgia about this one because it came out in the summer of 2018, and I also went to go see the concert for it, which was a way better concert than the one in 2017. Um, I don't know, man. It's just this album's just a little bit too mellow and just forgettable. It's kind of forgettable, man. I hate to say it, but like, when you think of Gorillaz, you don't really think of like, oh, that song was forgettable. You know that shit like stays with you, but you know, I don't know. I feel like definitely they're going in the right path on trying to keep everything more compact and simple, but I don't know. I feel like they just made it too simple to the point where you don't remember a lot of it.
Right. And I think I have like very similar sentiments. Although for a fact, Humility is my favorite song from this album, and it's probably
Right.
the only song it's the only song I keep going back to. I'm not
Right.
going back to listen to Trans or Hollywood or Kansas or Sorceress or whatever. It's only ever Humility. I think that one's definitely my favorite. But I think that song being my favorite isn't enough to like warrant this being higher than
I'd
a
I,
B or a low B.
I'd say it's a low B. Like at the end,
How about high C?
I wouldn't put it in a C tier. I definitely don't think it's at the level of the Fall.
So low B, I'm okay with that.
I'm definitely do prefer Humans just because it has a little bit more variety, and the songs are a little bit more memorable too. But it's not. It's. I'm not saying because I don't think there is a bad Gorillaz album. It's just my least favorite, at least.
Right.
So definitely putting it
Low
at
B.
a low B. So now the album that introduced Gorillaz to you.
So yeah, this has a special place in my heart, at least considering that this was, I think, first. I mean, I think no. This was the first album that I listened to from start to end when it first came out,
Right.
and
I mean, you even went all out and got the fucking deluxe album that fucking stupid ass Amazon
fucking
accidentally sent to you.
yeah. So that
Fucking hate that shit.
fucking I bought the normal. I mean the cheap one. I mean
Right.
the normal
The regular vinyl.
one, the regular vinyl, and then they sent me the fucking deluxe edition by accident, which I don't know how that happens because the deluxe edition is like
Is like
80
three
bucks.
times
Yeah,
more expensive than that shit.
but
Hey, good on you though for fucking winning that.
yeah, dude, I got fucking lucky. So which also I guess added to the sentimental value of this album to me, I guess. But no, yeah, I mean this so many songs that I like from this album, so many, and I feel like maybe you might have the same sentiments. I feel like this album is a big step up from.
And this album was when the pandemic had came out. Um,
Do you think that influenced?
it definitely did.
Maybe not even like
As it progressed.
not like politics, like
It well, I mean, the album, it's called Strange Times. It's well, the album's called Strange Times. The album's called Song Machine,
Song Machine.
but it starts off with Strange Times as
Right.
the first song of the album. So I think definitely as the year went by, they kind of changed like trajectory of what they wanted the album to be.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it worked in their favor because Song Machine Season 1, dude, it's single after single after hit after hit after hit after banger after banger after banger. Song Machine Season 1, I don't think there's one song where it's like, yeah, you can skip it. Song Machine Season 1 is, like I said, it's single galore. And I think it's definitely what Gorillaz needed to like be back in track. But yeah, my favorite will be Dissolé. Good ass fucking song. But I also really like Aries is a good one that I fucking enjoy. Pac-Man.
Oh, I love Pac-Man.
Pac-Man was the Clint Eastwood
Right.
Feel Good Inc. of this album.
Yeah, Valley of the Pagans.
Valley of the
Beck.
Pagans was good too.
The Pink Phantom. I like that one. Although it had to grow on me.
Right.
Yeah.
I know a couple of these songs that had to grow on me too. I think that one was definitely one of them.
That one has to grow on me. Mostly because I love Tootie's and Elton's part,
Mhm.
and then like the kind of rapping kind of breaks it.
Right. I think they found a way to manage to make it work, but it definitely
It has to grow on you. That's the thing. It has to grow on you.
I don't know about this.
It has to grow on you, but it's definitely not like. I wish it was kind of done a bit differently, or just
Right.
take off the like.
The verse.
Yeah, because the thing is, Elton John is like such a huge name, and then to like, I feel like he kind of needs his own like.
Right.
He needs like his own like time.
Definitely.
Momentary
Bliss is fucking
Good.
They started off with Momentary Bliss. Dude, I love that song. And now the song that grew on me that I love is Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Friday 13th, not Friday 13th. Friday 13th, featuring Octavian. I love that song. It's just the way that mixes Gorillaz and the rap. You know, this is probably Gorillaz' most trap-ish kind of song.
Uh-huh.
And they fucking made it work. It sounds like Gorillaz, and like a trap song Gorillaz version. And then just all the features they had. They went all out with the features in this one, bro.
This one reminded me. Well, not this one reminding me of Plastic Beach. It was rather Plastic Beach reminding me of Song Machine because of how many features there were.
Right. What they had? You had Beck on this one. Schoolboy Q,
Saint Vincent,
Elton John, Peter Hook, Octavian, Slow Thigh, Earth Gang, Goldlink, JPEG Mafia. Dude, you had hella people in this fucking.
A lot of good people too. I love
recognizable people. Personally, I don't think it's as good as Demon Days or my favorite album of all time, Plastic Beach. But it's definitely well deserving in the A tier, in my opinion. High A tier.
So, I'm going to put it S tier.
I know you would put it S
I would
tier.
put it S tier just because this is the one I started off with, right?
Right.
So, and I know like more. I've listened to these songs more than I have like,
Any other Gorillaz song.
than any other. So like I would put it high S tier.
Right.
Although S tier is fine by me. So anywhere in S tier is like fine by me.
To make you happy, I'll put it at the end of the S tier.
Then
That way, somewhere in between, we meet in between.
Right,
It's
right.
S tier, but it's
Yeah,
all
the
the way at
bottom
the
is-
bottom.
This I think like regardless if it's at top S or bottom S, it's still an
It's
S.
still an S. I don't think it's an S. I think it's an A tier, but I wouldn't be mad if somebody says, "Yeah, this is an S tier for me." You know,
Right. I think
it's deserving.
if I were introducing someone to Gorillaz, I think
Right.
Song Machine is the one that I would.
I think definitely Song Machine
It's the
is
perfect gateway?
a perfect introduction. I'm not even gonna lie. I think Song Machine is a perfect introduction. Song Machine, and
and the other from S.
going to Cracker Island.
I think Cracker Island is probably my favorite song.
Your favorite album?
No, song. I
Oh.
love
Yeah.
Cracker Island.
So actually, Cracker Island is getting like mixed feelings online about it.
The album as a
The
whole.
album, I think, from beginning to end, not including the deluxe. No, I'm not talking about the deluxe album. Just about the regular album. The deluxe album, the extra songs didn't do much for me, but the regular album, dude, I'm not gonna say it's my favorite Gorillaz album, but you know, they released these singles. It's been 6-7 months since they released these singles, and every single they would release, at least in my opinion, was fucking good. Like really fucking good. The first one, Cracker Island, awesome.
Dude.
I love that fucking song.
Dude, that song is phenomenal. It's if I it's in my top 5 of
Right.
Gorillaz songs. It's in
Gorillaz
my
songs.
top 5. And Thundercat, dude,
Yeah,
awesome.
they perfectly blended all the features. I think that were included here were used good.
Yes.
Cracker Island, I think was the second one single that came out. New Gold. I think New Gold I didn't like as much as Cracker Island. I feel like Tama Impala's feature was not wasted, but I feel like they could have done more with Tama Impala. But it's definitely I still really enjoy New Gold though.
What about Silent Running?
Huh?
How about Silent Running?
Silent Running. I need to hear that. This album is brand new. I don't remember these songs by
Yeah, that one's featuring Adele.
that does not have Adele.
Oh, it's not.
But one of my favorites, Baby Queen. Woo! I love Baby Queen. Skinny Ape is good too. I think the one with Stevie Nicks, Oil, is good too. It's just, in my opinion, this album is so cohesive, and every song is it's well deserving to be in that spot of that album. Everything just flows naturally. And people saying that it's you know, it's kind of a little bit repetitive and this and that, but I think as a whole the album just works perfect.
I think so.
It works perfectly. I know we're kind of ignoring the elephant in the room with the fucking Bad Bunny single, which in my opinion was probably the most like what the fuck Gorillaz feature.
Yeah. It's kind of random.
And I remember they were teasing the Bad Bunny single since the Song Machine came out. People were like, because they saw leaks for Song Machine and it said like Gorillaz featuring Bad Bunny. People were like, oh, this is a shit post. And then it actually turned out to be real on the next album. My opinion on that song, Tormenta. What does that even mean, dude?
Tormenta?
Like tortilla or some
Yeah,
shit?
I think so.
Taco Burrito Burrito King?
Yeah, dude. I think that's actually some of the lyrics in there.
Oh, right, yeah. Bad Bunny's like, oh, taco burrito, burrito mi taco.
Yeah,
Sí.
King.
Burrito mi taco, taco burrito. And he fucks the shit out of the burrito
Yeah.
with spicy sauce in it.
Yeah. They don't like the music video.
That's the music video?
Yeah, that's the music video.
It's definitely a Bad Bunny song. Hands down.
It's more a Bad Bunny than Gorillaz.
But the Gorillaz elements that they did add to the song definitely make it the most unique Bad Bunny song. But and it also makes it the most different Gorillaz song because it's the first Gorillaz song that's like um this genre of Latin trap music. Because usually Gorillaz don't follow to trends as much, and if they do, like in Friday 13th, they have their own element to it. Because it's not straight up trap music, it's trap with the Gorillaz flavor to it, and I feel like this one does have that Gorillaz flavor, but not as much as they really should have. I feel like they wanted more of that Bad Bunny star power, which obviously is gonna get them their fucking their streams and their listens and stuff. It is when it released, it was the third most streamed album in the world. Obviously because fucking the most streamed song, sorry, the most streamed song in the world.
Gotcha.
Because of fucking Bad Bunny, but hey, more power to them. I don't think the single's bad, or I don't think the song is bad.
I don't hate it.
I
I think it was the one I was putting off. Because I mean, I've not listened to a Bad Bunny song like ever.
Right.
So I'm just like, that's not really my thing. But when it came on, I was just like, you know what? I don't.
Right. I
don't hate it.
I don't actually. I would go out and say that it's a good song. I would say it's probably my favorite Bad Bunny song. Is it my favorite song from the album?
No.
Probably not. But I still think it's a decent Gorillaz song though. And if somebody puts it on, I'll even put it on in the car. I'm not the biggest Bad Bunny fan because I think his music is a little too redundant and repetitive, and it's very much the same on and on and on and on. But this crossover was definitely something for the ages, and I know this is gonna bring a whole introduction of people. I remember when this was announced, fucking the fat stupid Hispanic girls that we have on Facebook, they're like, oh, this is interesting. I definitely listen to Gorillaz. I can't wait for this Gorillaz Bad Bunny crossover. It's like, shut the fuck up. The only reason you're gonna listen to this shit is because that's fucking Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
The last Gorillaz song you probably fucking listened to was fucking Feel Good Inc. and that's it. That was fucking eons ago.
All right, like, shut the fuck up. Y'all were bullying us for
right. I was getting bullied for listening to the fucking Gorillaz in fucking middle school, man. Oh, but now, Bad Bunny? Oh, dude, Gorillaz have always been good. Fuck right. You, piece of shit. Dumb.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck this.
Hot Cheetos eating
D,
girls.
Album in D.
I think
A.
I think it's an A tier. I don't think I definitely don't think. This was in my opinion. If I were doing this tier list, I would put Song Machine A tier.
So all the albums that I like, put them at D, and then the ones that you like that.
yeah, I'm gonna move it around right now. I would have put Cracker Island above the Song Machine.
Okay.
I just like it just a little bit more.
Gotcha.
And if not a little bit more, they're both neck on neck, but they would both be A tier for me. I don't think this album is S tier though. I don't think
it's definitely not. I think A tier is fine.
Right.
My thing is I think I need to give this like 2 or 3 more listens.
Right.
For me to solidify.
Right.
For me to solidify my opinion on it. I mean, this just came out.
Right. Like my opinion is gonna change once I hear the Anthony Fantana review.
Yeah.
But I think it's an A tier.
Right. No, I mean I'm completely fine with that.
In my opinion, it's definitely an A tier. I think I'm pretty happy with how this tier list turned out. Obviously, Pour the Fall gets the C tier treatment. The lineup of the B tier is well deserving. I think
so.
A tier definitely. The only thing I would probably put is Song Machine down there, but I don't even mind having Song Machine in the S tier. But
I think S tier is definitely the quintessential trio, at least by this tier list.
Right. I think like the peak S tier of all time will always be forever for Gorillaz. For me, is always gonna be Plastic Beach and Demon Days. But I am happy with where Gorillaz is going right now. Their EP that came out a while ago also was pretty good too. I loved a lot of the songs from that. But yeah, man, it's Gorillaz. One of my favorite artists of all time, and shit. If they can make music for as long as the man is living, why not? But yeah, maybe I do really want to make a video about Gorillaz lore. up to this point, which is gonna be fucking long.
Yeah, I bet.
Or even make like just run down the albums and do a tier list for each album. But yeah. What are your final thoughts, Messina?
I think, well, one, I'm happy with the tier list. I think it's fine. It's perfect. No, I think Gorillaz. I mean, it's exciting. I don't have many. Yeah, I'll listen to anything, right?
Right.
And there's not that many like artists that like I keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Gorillaz is in a unique spot that like I was looking forward to Cracker Island coming out because it's definitely something that I have not experienced in a while. Like, oh my god, hey, this new artist that I like is releasing music soon.
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. I haven't felt this way in like a while. Usually, like when an artist drops music, I'm just like, oh, I find out about it like all late about it
and shit.
But like this one, like,
I mean, it doesn't help that you have a friend that fucking loves the Gorillaz. So
right. So it's like you guys.
They kind of like hype you up for
you
it.
guys keep me in check. But no, yeah, like definitely like. I think Gorillaz is definitely something that I wish I would have gotten into
as you
way
were growing
earlier.
up. Right. I mean, I did. I introduced you to it in Unity, but you were like, fuck you, you stupid nerd. Let me listen to Lil Wayne.
No, me? Yeah, right. No, I was basically like listening to heavy metal and putting my hoodie on and
and yeah. Fucking kill everybody in this fucking school.
Oh god.
Jeez. Anyways, we'll come back next week for the Gorillaz Smiling Friends crossover.
Oh hell yeah! No, next week and the week after that, we're gonna be tier listing every single song in Gorillaz history.
In Gorillaz history, even the D sides, the B side albums, and everything.
Oh god.
But I do want to make a Gorillaz history video. Maybe not. If it's not the lore, it's just histories of just albums, unreleased albums, or just albums, because they have a lot of unreleased music, dude. So much shit is unreleased.
Right, and then like in the very near future, the Gorillaz movie review discussion.
For those listening, I updated the comments, but yeah, that Gorillaz movie is coming out next year, so I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Netflix.
Here's the thing. I mean, are we really surprised? And I mean, you guys, right?
Right.
Since you guys grew up, you guys have known about Gorillaz way longer. Would you guys have been happy if it was Netflix that was making the movie as opposed to like another?
Yeah, because Netflix lets the creators do whatever the fuck they want. So? Yeah, so they would have a lot of control over the movie. But yeah, watch my video if you want more information about the Gorillaz movie. Just know that it's not updated, and at the end of the day, that video was worthless because the movie's not being made. But thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoy this video. If you want to see more Gorillaz content, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment as to what it is that you want to see, and leave a comment as to why the fuck you hate our opinion. Please
do.
We'll see you guys in the next video.
Hello, America. I'm Murdoch, and we're Gorillaz. We'd like to thank you for this MTV award. It will take pride of place on my mantle, next to my upside-down rubber cross, and my signed copy of The Wicker Man. Hail Satan.